Are you familiar with the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight? But always find yourself wondering, what was going on exactly with the wife who was loaned out to traveling knights to test their fidelity in that tale? Well, we'll be finding out her side of the story in this special bonus episode of Undertow just after this.
There's a special kind of thrill that comes with finally getting something that's been in your shopping cart or on your wish list for a while. And that feeling is even better if you know you got the best deal for it. That's why the savviest shoppers shop with Rakuten. They get the brands they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for connecting them with shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cashback. Start getting cashback at your favorite stores like Sephora, UGG, Levi's, and many more. Plus, Rakuten lets you stack sales on top of cashback, so you're not missing out on any other deals or rewards you might already be a part of. It's easy to use, and you get your cashback through PayPal or check. Download the free Rakuten app and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's Rakuten.
#1 New York Times bestselling author Scott Sigler brings you The Rookie, Season 1 of the Galactic Football League series, a high-octane mashup of sci-fi, crime fiction, and sports, free wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, this is Fred Greenhalgh, your host for Undertow, Realms podcast delving into the weird and the wicked. I'm also the producer of the show we'll be hearing today, The Green Knight's Wife, an adaptation of the short story by Kat Howard. Kat is a fantasy, science fiction, and horror author whose books include A Cathedral of Myth and Bone, Roses and Rot, and An Unkindness of Magicians. She also served as editor for Season 2 of the Dark Tome podcast, an anthology horror series, which I'm pleased to say will be re-releasing here on Undertow in 2023. As far as this story goes, well, I find nothing more delightful than taking a myth or folktale we think we know and then to turn it on its head as, this one does rather literally. This show is also special to me because it's one of the last productions I did featuring my late friend and co-producer, William DeFries. It also takes place on the winter solstice, so, it kind of works for the season. The Green Knight's Wife is performed by a full cast, with a lead performance by Moira Driscoll, who played Margaret, one of the werewolf cabal, and a very good deer butcherer in Blood Forest. This one is not quite all ages, but is a little more widely palatable than some of the fare here on Undertow. It does a bit of violence, but nothing too objectionable. Let's take a slice, shall we, of The Green Knight's Wife.
The boys arrive with the changing of the weather, ushered in by winter's cold. Once a year, at the beginning of December, those silly boys who think coming here means they are brave, all of them so eager to test their worth on the edge of my husband's axe. For years and forever and for always, through one story and into the next, they have been as regular as the snowfall, these boys. They come in their shining armor, their expensive suits, their television good looks, alien things among all this green wildness, this unchanging cathedral of my husband's making. He feels more comfortable in a place that is like him, forest, secret, overgrown. No one ever asked me what my comforts were, whether I wanted to press myself to holly and thorn in my marriage bed. He gives the boys a year and a day to arrive. My husband does.
I like to make it fair for them.
As he laughs, oak leaves fall from his beard, holly berries roll red and fall to the floor like drops of blood. I do not believe him. I am also an edge that those boys must test themselves against. Here are the rules for the game my husband plays. It begins at the heart of winter, the ending of the year, at the great feasts of those brightly lit holidays, meant to call back the sun from the darkness. Someone calls for a wonder, and he goes. My husband is a wonder, you see. He is vine and leaf, oak and holly, tree and forest and winter wrapped around the shape of a man. The heart of him is a green and secret thing. And, well, there is the small matter of his head. He will pound on the doors until they open before his blows and stand before the one who called. In the early days of the story, the summoner would be a king, overfed and drunk in his Christmas court. Now it is just as likely a CEO and corporate party. More drink, less food, sometimes even the staged reality of a television show and a room full of cameras and calculated angles. Once he has arrived before his audience, my husband will brandish his axe and ask,
Who is so bold in his blood and his brain that will dare strike one stroke for another?
Oh, it sounds archaic now, and every so often someone asks him to change the wording.
Why can't you just say, you try to cut off my head, and then I try to cut off yours?
There is a formula to these things. The words matter. Now, will you play?
What's going on here?
Of course I'll play! Louis, hold my beer!
Okay, sure thing.
There is always someone willing to take part in this game, and brains have very little to do with it. They all think that they are special. They are chosen. They are as much a wonder as my husband is. My husband will hand the axe over to the volunteer, a knight in armor, a lawyer in a suit, an actor in this month's designer t-shirt, and will make a big fuss about kneeling down, bending his head, baring his neck to the blow.
You really want me to do this?
These are the rules.
Okay.
The poor silly boy. He has no idea what he's gotten himself into, how old and how unpitying this story is. The boy thinks he is clever enough to get himself out of it, so he will pick up the axe and smile, rooster-chested at the queen, at the boss's wife, at the starlet of the week, and strike. The axe will bite true, and my husband's head will fall to the floor.
Is that real blood?
The boy, he will not think of himself as a boy. He will think of himself as a knight, as a man, will pose with the axe, will bow. Someone among those gathered will apologize to the queen for the mess, the blood.
Sorry about that. Don't know my own strength.
And then my husband's body will stand up from the floor, and my husband's hand will reach into his hair, and he will pick up his fallen head, and his head will speak.
What's he doing? What is he getting up? What the heck?
You must come to endure what you have dealt.
Someone usually faints at this point. It's never the person with the camera. The rules are given. The chapel green, a year and a day, otherwise all honor lost. Honor. As if that was ever what this was about. Head tucked under his arm, my husband turns and comes home to me.
Hello, wife.
Welcome home. Let me wash that axe.
There's something weird going on with influencers right now. I'm a little freaked out. They just get everything they want. Everything's a little too perfect. Their smiles are a little too straight. They're using filters I can't find anywhere. I know what I'm about to say might sound a little unhinged, but I think it might be witchcraft. At least, that's what Jenna Clayton thought right before she went missing. We're excited to introduce a new show from Realm.
If I Go Missing, The Witches Did It, starring Oscar-nominated actress Gabourey Sidibe. When a Black writer goes missing, a white podcast host with a savior complex takes up the cause of finding her and collides with a coven of influencers she suspects are responsible. This show is a little bit of The Craft meets Mean Girls meets Get Out. Learn more about If I Go Missing, The Witches Did It at realm.fm, and be sure to listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
They show up early, the boys, days, even weeks before the deadline, even now in these days of planes and cars and GPS. So concerned with honor and reputation, with not looking like a coward, a pussy, they must pretend they are eager for the axe's kiss, for a blow they must understand will be fatal if struck. But they think they are special. They think there is a way out. At least for them. They are almost right. This is when the second part of the game begins. My husband disguises himself as someone whose beard is not made of oak leaves, whose arms are not wrapped around with trailing vines of ivy, and whose head, if struck off, would remain decorously detached and would definitely not start speaking. He invites them to stay with us. We're close by, after all, and isn't it better to go to such an ordeal well-rested and fed? He pours them a drink, ice rattling against crystal, and smiles. The boys look at the warm amber color of the scotch. They think of the thread count of the sheets in this house versus that of the cheap hotel just down the road. The boys look at me. They say yes. My husband smiles. He makes a deal with them. It's the deal he always makes.
And the bedroom's just down the hall. Oh, by the way, anything you're given while you're here, you give back to me.
Okay, yeah.
He knows they'll say yes, these boys. They are here precisely because they're the kind of people who take dares, who say yes, who gamble. They are here to take a blow from an axe. They think they can cheat and never be found out. I am to be the thing that tests their honor, to offer sweet words, to offer kisses, to offer a casual fuck. The reality TV people, they love this. It's their favorite part, the thing that really kicks the ratings up. It's so drama. It's edgy. It's just potentially queer enough to titillate once the camera cuts away. The cameras always cut away, at least when the kisses are traded back to my husband. When this game began, I would play along. I would tempt the boys and laugh to see which of my offers they would accept. I would kiss them and smile, knowing my husband would taste me on their mouths. If he was going to give me away, I would take what pleasure I could get out of it. If they tell him what they've been given, if they return to him those kisses and more, my husband tells them he understands that what happened was my fault. No man could resist what it is I offer. When they kneel and bare their necks to him, he swings the axe and holds the thin and almost bloodless line on their skin just deep enough to scar. A reminder, nothing more. I cannot remember the last time this was how the game ended. If the boys keep their secrets and mine, my husband cuts off their heads, and then he looks at me and smiles. This is, after all, my fault.
No. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
The first time this happened so long and long ago, I felt the blow. A thud that landed in my chest as if my husband's axe had hit me in the heart. When it happens now, the cameras cut away. It's so easy, if you're watching, to tell yourself it's special effects. The blood is added in post, that it could never happen. Not really. It's so easy to ignore all the hard parts of a story when you don't have to live it. The boys' heads don't reattach. No matter how you bleach it, bone is never as white as snow. And then, one year, the boy doesn't show up. It is 2 days after the new year, and snow is falling outside, and the cameras are waiting, and my husband, green and wild, is pacing back and forth, axe in hand. Phone calls are made, texts sent, emails written, and no one can find him, this boy that is now late to his appointment with an axe. They can't believe it. I can't believe it has taken this long for someone to realize there is no game if you simply refuse to play. But there is such panic. There wouldn't be an episode. There would be no story without some silly knight in his honor kneeling at my husband's feet. Everyone is desperate for the end.
Hey, where's your guy?
I don't know. It's always worked before.
If he doesn't show up in 10 minutes, we're all dead meat.
I'll do it.
What?
The cameras turn to me.
No.
All I need to do is trade blows. I return to you everything that I've been given while I've been here. How about it?
I don't know.
Perfect! What? Yes, this is perfect! What do you say?
Well, I suppose.
Great! Cameras, track them as they approach the chapel.
Yeah.
So we crunched through the snow to the chapel green, to the heart of the forest. The berries are red on the holly, and the air smells of pine. I do not look at the skulls that line the eaves of the chapel. My husband says the words of the challenge and hands me his axe.
Anything you're given while you're here, you give back to me, wife.
He kneels at my feet, stretching his head towards the altar. There is blood, old, rust-colored, sunk into the stones. I swing the axe, and it cuts through his neck as if it is nothing. His head falls to the ground.
Yes! You got that? Tell me you got that.
We got that!
But I am not finished. I swing the axe a second time, cutting through his chest, through the twisted vines that grow where his heart would be. Everything that I have been given, I give back to you.
Wait, what are you doing?
Was that supposed to happen?
Well, it just went off on live TV.
There go our sponsors.
That's kind of smart.
My husband's eyes close. His body does not stand. His head does not speak. I drop the axe next to his corpse. I walk from the chapel. Blood falls from my hands, red as holly berries on the white snow.
And that was The Green Knight's Wife. Hope you enjoyed that biting little tale. And thank you for being part of our Undertow 2022 season. Our first episode of the new year will be a new original show, one-off where we visit a lighthouse with a dark past. It's a place where a monster rises from the foggy mist, bringing with it the smell of rotten seaweed. The kind of story you'll only get here in the Undertow.
Greetings, adventurers. Today we're excited to introduce you to a new story, Dark Dice, a horror podcast that blurs the line between actual play and audio drama, where the story is determined by the roll of the dice. 6 adventurers embark on a journey into the ruinous domain of the Nameless God. They will never be the same again. One of the players is not what they seem after a doppelganger, a creature that can assume the form and voice of whatever it kills, infiltrates the team. As the players are picked off and replaced one at a time, can they figure out who the monster is before it's too late? Can you? Here's a quick example of what our show sounds like.
The shambler with the jar of liquid inside of him.
Soren Arkwright let loose an arrow that cracked the glass, passing through the spine of the creature. The shambler still managed to maintain its forward momentum, but stumbled as it eagerly tried to bite and swipe at Soren, landing near his feet. As Jeff Goldblum has now joined our cast, Dark Dice is available however you listen to podcasts.
The Green Knight's Wife was produced, directed, and adapted for audio by Fred Greenhalgh, based on the short story The Green Knight's Wife by Kat Howard, originally appearing in Uncanny Magazine, featuring the performances of Moira Driscoll, William DeFries, Stephen McLaughlin, and Thomas Campbell. Sound design by Rory O'Shea, with music by Blue Dot Sessions, Mind's Eye Productions, and Audio Jungle. The Green Knight's Wife is a Dagaz media production. Undertow is a production of Realm, hosted by Fred Greenhalgh, produced by Mary Azadolahi and Haley Wagreich, associate produced by Nicole Kreuter and Alexis Latshaw, executive produced by Fred Greenhalgh, Molly Barton, and Marcy Wiseman. Original theme by Hubert Campbell, cover art by Kendall Thomas. Find more shows like Undertow by following Realm at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or at realm.fm. Realm is your portal to another world. Listen away.